Ladies and gentlemen, Behind the Line proudly presents to you another exciting edition of The Woke, turning on the woke. This episode is brought to you by the WNBA Dump. Are you in need of professional trash services? Does your neighbor's yard look like a used car lot with clunkers rusting in the front yard, diminishing your property value? Are you tired of collecting the freshly steamed turds left by your dogs in the backyard? If so, I've got some great news for you. The Dump offers highly trained technicians who will be glad to herd those turds. Visit our website at humpthedump.com to receive a free quote today. This league, they just can't get out of their own way. And believe it or not, I'm actually on the WNBA side here. I understand what they're doing and why they're doing it. And to their credit, I think this is smart. Yesterday afternoon, it was announced that the Phoenix Masculines, home of the only star amongst anonymous players in this league, Bob Griner. Yesterday afternoon, Waste Management Phoenix, they announced that they were hiring Nate Tibbetts to be their new operations manager. Now, I think the unofficial title that he was given was head coach, but the reality is Nate the Great. He will be responsible for making sure the facilities in Phoenix are operating at full capacity. Well, KC, who in the hell is Nate Tibbetts? Yeah, I actually had that same question. I got on LinkedIn this afternoon to search for his resume and qualifications. There's only 12 of these positions available in the WNBA, so I figured that Nate had experience in the industry. Perhaps he was a former district manager at BFI. Maybe he started his career riding shotgun in the garbage truck. Nate doesn't have experience in the fine art of trash collecting, but he does have experience in professional basketball. For the past decade or so, he has been a journeyman assistant in the NBA. Now, you might be wondering, why is this so controversial? Who fucking cares? Well, people care. The media cares about this decision. WNBA players care about this decision. You see, Nate Tibbetts, he is considered a controversial hire for two reasons. One, the Phoenix Mercury, they made him the highest paid coach in the history of the WNBA, meaning they are paying him about $100 a week. Now, this makes his salary significantly higher than the next coach who's making about 100 pesos. Now, according to ESPN, Nate Tibbetts, he's going to be making over $1 million a year. And number two, and I actually think this is the real reason that some in the mainstream media have a problem with this. Nate Tibbetts, he doesn't belong to a marginalized group. Yeah, you see, Nate is what the mainstream media likes to call the white man. Headline over at Deadspin: WNBA has a wage gap problem. The hiring of Nate Tibbetts exposes an ugly double standard. How? How does this expose a double standard? Deadspin makes the insinuation that Nate Tibbetts was only given this salary because of his dong and skin tone. He wasn't hired because he was qualified. He wasn't hired because they couldn't convince anyone else to take over this dump in Phoenix. He was only hired and given this record-breaking salary because of his race and gender. Since 1997, there have been 93 head coaches in the WNBA. 52 have been white, 41 have been black. Well, that's great, right? This should climax the woke boner. The league that is dedicated to diversity, equity, and inclusion, they're actually practicing what they preach. But according to Deadspin, this is a direct violation of the woke commandments. Since 75% of the players in the WNBA are black, that automatically means that 100% of the coaches should be black. And not only should they be black, they should be black women. Now, the media, they are trying to make this issue about race and gender. I know, shocker. But I think this has everything to do with the substandard product on the court in the WNBA. We are starting to see this trend in the WNBA where teams are seeking out NBA coaches. Now, obviously, they're not going to be able to get guys who are actually capable of being head coaches in the NBA. For starters, they don't have the money to pay them. And the more obvious reason, why would you leave the NBA to coach pretend basketball? I believe the thinking in the WNBA is if we can get people with experience in the NBA, people who have experience developing professional basketball players, maybe they can develop some of our players into actual professionals. A couple of years ago, the Las Vegas Anonymous Faces, they hired Becky Hammon. For the past 2 years, they have been the most dominant team in the league. This past offseason, my Pelicans fired Teresa Weatherspoon. Now, I really liked Teresa Weatherspoon, but I think she just kind of ran her course in New Orleans. It was one of those situations where it was time for a change. Now, I would have liked to have seen that change at head coach, but I'm not too upset about the Pelicans giving Willie Green one more season. Nate Tibbetts, though, he makes the third NBA hire in the WNBA in the last 3 years. Now, in order to get people with NBA experience, in order to get people with actual credibility, what is it going to take? Money! You can't offer these guys the same salaries that you're offering other WNBA head coaches. Coaches with NBA experience, they are not coming to join your league for pesos. They're not coming for the complimentary water that is offered on Woke Bath Wednesday. And I don't remember the media bitching and complaining when the Anonymous Faces hired Becky Hammon, but when the masculines hired the white guy, Deadspin's got a real problem with it. But Deadspin, they are not the only one with a problem here. Imagine my surprise, just imagine my surprise when I find out that a participant in the WNBA has another complaint. Napheesa Collier, she is the power forward for the Minnesota Lynx. Really good employee, very powerful. She's the one they call when they have those heavy loads of trash that need to be deposited into the back of the garbage truck. Napheesa Collier, she's a little perturbed here. I'm glad these coaches are getting paid, but how come they're making 4 times more than the players? Do I really need to explain that? Have you seen most of the players in this league? I mean, I know it can be amusing to watch someone attempt a windmill dunk and do nothing but create a nice breeze, but after a while, that gets kind of boring. Player salaries, they are capped at $250,000 for a reason. The league, they cannot afford to pay any more than that number. Hell, I don't even know if they can afford to pay that salary. The WNBA has never turned a profit. Now, sure, they have received millions of dollars in sympathy money, but you can't rely on sympathy money long term. It's called a one-time donation for a reason. Only happens once. Now, to be honest, I was kind of surprised at some of this media outrage directed at the WNBA. No league has dedicated themselves to woke United Methodist more than the WNBA. I mean, the dump covers every cause: mythical racism, mythical misogyny, gender-affirming care, product placement with Just for Men for those special women who believed the heavenly mechanic made a mistake and installed the wrong parts at birth. And all it takes for a dump like Deadspin to attack the WNBA is for them to give the white man $1 million? Like I said, they are trying to add some credibility to this league. I understand why the WNBA is going after NBA coaches, but clearly some in the mainstream media don't. But it's not all criticism in the media today. Matter of fact, there is cause for celebration. Get out your rainbows, charge those battery-powered wieners, because the WNBA Finals is a ratings success. We are 3 games through the WNBA Finals, with not one game being competitive. Every facial hair counting contest has been decided by double digits, which is great for Just for Men because it proves that their product actually works. The good news for the WNBA: they are going to see a nice increase in ratings when compared to last year for the WNBA Finals. Now, the bad news for the WNBA: these ratings further prove that this league does not belong on network television. Now, ABC for some reason has decided to broadcast 2 games of the WNBA Finals. Why? I guess ABC likes to finish in last place on Sunday afternoons? I mean, why would Kathy Engelbert schedule 2 games of the WNBA Finals to compete directly with the NFL on Sunday? Does that make sense to you? I mean, this league can't compete with the NBA preseason. Game 2 of the WNBA Finals, it drew 626,000 viewers on ESPN. That is the smallest audience in the last 3 years. Now, this game was last Wednesday night when the WNBA only had Major League Baseball to compete with. Game 3 on Sunday on ABC against the NFL, forget about it. Game 3, 659,000 viewers on ABC. Now, ESPN broadcast the NBA preseason. They only drew 100,000 viewers less. NBA preseason games damn near matching the ratings for the WNBA Finals. I told you guys yesterday that it really aggravates me how these broadcast networks treat Major League Baseball. I'm not even a fan of baseball anymore, and this situation is still frustrating. Major League Baseball, they draw 1, sometimes over 2 million viewers on Fox during the regular season. But the deeper they get into the playoffs, the higher their ratings increase. Game 1 of the ALCS Sunday night on Fox, over 7 million viewers. Now, I didn't look at historical ratings to see if this was a good or bad number, but either way, it's 7 million people. The WNBA, they average about 500,000 during the regular season. Hell, there are games during the regular season that draw more than some of these games in the playoffs. 500,000 during the regular season, only 650,000 for the finals. What does that tell you? It tells me that this league appeals to a very, very niche audience. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, the NHL appeals to a niche audience too. But the NHL just drew 1.3 million, I think it was, 1.3 million viewers the other night on ESPN. Now, the mainstream media wants us to believe that the WNBA is experiencing unprecedented growth. Here we go again with the partial truth. Just because the growth is unprecedented doesn't mean it's significant. It doesn't mean the WNBA is going mainstream. I remember when my channel finally took off after 18 months of being stagnant. In 1 month alone, I went from 2,000 subscribers to over 10,000. My videos went from averaging in the hundreds of views to averaging 1,000 or 2,000. Now, for me, at the time, that was unprecedented growth. Today, if I had a video hit 2,000 views, I would be crushed. This matchup in the WNBA Finals, this matchup, it was supposed to be the matchup that propelled the league into the mainstream. Even the normally logical New York Post, even they were hyping up this matchup. Problem for the WNBA, it didn't happen. Outside of your niche audience, there's no interest in the WNBA Finals. But anyway, give me your thoughts. The Phoenix Mercury, they hired Nate Tibbetts, give him the highest salary in the history of the WNBA. Now, do you think they are going after NBA coaches to give the league credibility and improve the substandard product on the court? And do you think that will work? Can NBA coaches develop WNBA players into professional athletes? Also, what do you think about these ratings for the WNBA Finals? This was supposed to be the matchup that propelled the dump into the mainstream, and yet for some reason, there ain't nothing mainstream about it. Do you think this league will ever grow past their niche audience that they already have? Let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share the video. I appreciate every one of you guys and your continued support. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.